Hey there, I'm Linda. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe. I'm bringing you beginner quilting tips and tricks every week. So let's get to it. So I'm being perfectly honest with you guys, and I am showing you what my WIPS or works in progress look like. And it's not good, people, although I think I have more quilts tops waiting to be quilted than I do quilts started to be pieced. So let's start with my favorite technique, which is something called one block wonder. I'm not going to get into the details of describing this. If you want to know more, Google it. It's a great technique. It's a technique, not a pattern, because the way you cut up your fabric, and the type of fabric you use, you get different blocks. So let me show you what that means. So I have 2 stacks of a fabric that I chose that had a huge repeat, so about 24 inches before the fabric repeated. And I have lined it up and cut these into 6 equilateral triangles, like so. And when you lay these out and sew them together, you get a hexagon that each block is the same, and it creates a really unique design in the middle. So these have been cut before COVID. Step 2 is this one. Let me see if I can flip this without flipping it all out. There we go. This is another one of my one block wonders, but it's a little bit further down the road. So let me show you an example here. So these are individual hexagons. Let me rephrase that. Individual half hexagons, and when you put them together, you get a beautiful design. This is the wonder of one block wonder. I love one block wonder. I've had these 2 quilts partially along the way, long before COVID. Not good, but here we are. It's time to get them done though. So let's talk about some other projects of mine that have been around for a while. This is a project a quilt design that I absolutely love, which is a 100 star quilt. Let's show a bigger picture of the block. This is actually an AccuQuilt die that I own, which actually cuts all of these pieces out, which is wonderful. I have them cut. I'll show you an example of a pile. So this is a pile. You can see that's for 1 block. That creates 1 of these. And you may be looking at it and going, that's really pretty, Linda. Why haven't you finished? Because it hurts my brain. I have so far, and again, this is pre-COVID, made 2 blocks out of this, because you constantly have to be thinking, okay, is that gray? Is that burgundy? Is that gray? Is that burgundy? And a number of times I've had to rip it out because I had the wrong color. So love it. We'll get it done one day, but it's so frustrating. One of my favorite designs though. My husband is a Star Wars fan. I alluded to that earlier. And this is another Star Wars quilt. Wow, this is less far than I thought it was. So this was for Rogue One. Not sure when that was released. I'd have to Google it. This is the pattern. And I got as far as doing most of the cutting, it looks like, until, yeah, it looks like I did the cutting for the insides of these stars, which is what this stuff is. And then there's this fabric, and then there's this fabric, and there's other fabric. So yeah, I did the cutting, well, at least part of the cutting, and I stopped, probably because I got overwhelmed. And that's been, if anybody wants to Google when Rogue One was out, this could be quite funny. And the last thing I'm going to show you are the projects that I haven't even started. I have projects that have been kitted. Again, this is for David, who is not only a Star Wars fan, but loves owls. So I plan to make him this cute quilt called Mod Owls. And I collected all of this fabric. I think that is my background fabric, which is a really pretty gray. And then I have all of these fabrics for the shirts. Let me show you again the quilts. So you, for all the bodies and the shirts on these owls, shirts being their wings, really. And I have all of these. So again, Linda's addiction to blue and green fabric, different checks and patterns, and some buffalo plaid, and some dots, some gingham, just some small patterns to make the wings on the owls. So that one hasn't even been started because I can't start it because I haven't finished these others. This is the dilemma of all crafters, not only quilters, cross-stitchers, knitters, crocheters. We're all, unless you're really dedicated to what you do and you're really diligent in what you do, you're starting new projects before you finish others. A, you got bored. B, you got bored. C, you got bored. D, it was above your skill level and it was really difficult learning the new skills. Whatever it was, there was something that tipped you off that said, hey, let me start that new thing. And this is where we end up. We end up with projects that are sitting in bins, or quilt tops that are sitting under long arms, or whatever other crafting projects you do. They end up sitting in a bin, and it's like, so along with expanding my skills this year, I plan to finish some of these quilts because it's ridiculous. I mean, I think I showed you 5, 6 quilt tops that have just been sitting underneath my long arm. And then there's these projects that are partially started. It's bad. So I know you guys are in the same boat with me. So this is why I wanted to share. And if you're not already subscribed, make sure you subscribe, and talk to you soon.